All right. So what are we looking at here? I wanted to start everything off today. This is just a brief introduction. This is part of my my masterclass series, which you can be full force on my website, tobioff.com/TOBI. And that's my online class, right? This is what I like to do is have a group warm up just on YouTube on Sundays, just to bring more people into the fold. This is kind of a neat community that we've built, and I really hope that you consider being a part of it, because it's been a lot of fun for me as I've really grown from it. But I don't want to spend too much time with the sales pitch, just because we're all trombone players. We all want to practice, and for the most part, you're here because you want to be inspired, and I think that's really important. And just to give you an idea quick of my practice routine, it's informed by the audition process. Now, I got where I am taking that process very seriously, trying to learn as much as I could from each failed attempt, as it were. And what I came to is this realization that there's 3 rounds in every audition. And it's really important you understand this, because it informs your practice agenda, hopefully for several years. The first round is all about rhythm, pitch, and tone quality, the holy trinity of brass playing, or actually musicianship in general. You have to start with the 3 T's. Good rhythm, good pitch, and good tone, good rhythm, good pitch, good tone quality. That's it. So how do you practice those things, right? Well, obviously it's with a tuner, a metronome, and a recording device. This is pretty easy, and if you're not already doing this, you should be. Start today, okay? Rhythm, pitch, tone quality. Hold yourself accountable. But obviously, this isn't all you would talk about in a lesson. Right? It's not all that you would discuss in a master class, although it is very often discussed when people don't have convincing rhythm, pitch, or tone quality, right? But it's not all there is. Obviously, there's musicianship, and I think that this is something that we don't talk about enough. Start every practice session being inspired. Take great responsibility for adding your own inspiration to every practice session. You have to start being inspired. You can't hope to play with inspiring musicianship if you're not daily inspired. So you have to look for that sense of wonder that you had when you originally came to music. This has to be something that starts every practice session, to try to find that wonder, so that you can hope to inspire that same wonder when people listen to you. Like, wow, how do they do that? Oh, that's so exciting what they just did. You want to inspire that. And if you're thinking about the audition process, the first round is kind of all about the 3 T's. 95% of musicians can't actually do this, the 3 T's consistently, right? And this usually informs the first round of any audition. The second round, everything being equal amongst players that can do the 3 T's consistently, how do you decide who's the best? Well, who's the most inspiring musician? And of course, the last one, as we all know, is adaptable musicianship. The last round of pretty much any audition I've been to typically is going to be section playing, and or the conductor or even the committee saying, hey, can you play things different, right? So you're looking for the ability to have adaptable musicianship. And how do you practice that? Well, that's doing a lot of listening to your colleagues. That's playing for several different teachers that all have very interesting and vetted stylistic approaches that are different from each other. So again, this is the way that I inform my practice, and it's the way that I start my warm-up. And I want to start with you today. I was going to start with listening, right? And not to just trombone players, because truth be told, we're not the greatest musicians on the planet. It's typically vocalists, people that are dealing with a much tighter range, can't sing as loud as we can play on the trombone, but for some reason they're paid 10 times more than we are. There's a reason. They're better musicians than we are. I hate to say it, for the most part. Okay, there are some limitations that we deal with our instrument. We can't speak the words through the instrument so well, but I always like to start with songs. I want to see some of these questions here. Glenn, Marco, you're saying, what are the most common mistakes that can be made when playing the mouthpiece? How about let's answer this question, and then I'm going to jump into the singing part, okay? When you're buzzing the mouthpiece, which I think is a really important thing, you want to make sure that you don't get over tight. You also want to make sure that you don't overblow. Now, these two things I think that you can indulge in slightly, but just take the effort out. I've definitely, like, trying to blow out the tension. I've gotten places with that. It's not a very popular thing to do, and I don't think that I would recommend it for a long period of time. But sometimes you can sort of blow away the tension by using extra air. But typically, this is one of the biggest mistakes that I see is effortful buzzing. All right, when you're buzzing, you're trying to connect with the easiest way of tone production. You want your lips to vibrate with the most gentle air. And so usually when I'm buzzing, I'm using a combination of these two things, my cutaway and my mouthpiece, all right? This I use for a flow study, and this I use for a clarity study. Like when I want to get a clear sound or an easy attack, whenever I have that little you know, no matter what the register, I can typically solve it with buzzing on the rim, okay? Buzzing on the mouthpiece, typically if I get a no speaking in the middle of a phrase, that'll work really well. Or if there's really extra tightness, right, over a wide range, that buzzing on the mouthpiece typically solves the issue. That's Chris, I don't know if you just arrived here. Chris is saying, how can you avoid sounding robotic when focusing on the 3 T's? Now, if you were here at the beginning, maybe this didn't make complete sense, but you focus on the 3 T's, but in tandem with being an inspiring musician. Okay, so remember, there's the 3 tiers. The 3 T's are the bottom, okay, of the pyramid. Time, tune, tone. You have to practice being an inspiring musician, and then the last one is to be an adaptable musician. You practice these things all at once, and the way that you're going to avoid that is you start every practice session by being inspired, and that's what we're going to do now. Okay, I usually. What I'm trying to do with my practice session right at the beginning is to try to get myself to a place of wonder. Like when you see natural beauty, it's like, wow, that's really pretty, that kind of thing. And I'm going to play something for you now that I find very inspiring. Always start with being inspired, okay? It doesn't have to be exactly what we're listening to now, but like, let's start with being inspired. Stephen Whipple, make sure that you subscribe. TobyUff.com/Toby. That's where it all happens, all right? And in fact, everybody. But Stephen, I know that you were a former subscriber, so I'm eager to see you there. If I don't believe you subscribed yet, but I hope you will, all right? Okay, so let's get this going. See if I can make this happen. We have here, and here, and here. Little floating thing over there to the right. And then I even, believe it or not, I found the sheet music. Now, I think I can throw this in the comments. I want to give you a PDF of the comments here. I'm not able to. Wait, here we go. Wow. Here we go. There we go. Enjoy. Okay, so that's where the full music is if you want to download it and follow along, but we're going to just listen to this. And again, it's all about just finding the wonder, okay? We're going to try to glean as much as we can from the phrase architecture that we're going to see, okay? Listen for breathing, listen for volume, listen for timbre, okay? We're going to listen to this and we're going to play it, okay? So, wow. I got to be honest with you, it gets me. It's so haunting, right? So that was Alma Mahler. Alma Mahler. So Mahler's wife wrote 5 liter, and holy cow, that's the first one. So what we can do then is we can play along with that recording if we want to, or we can use that just to inform as much as we want for our phrase architecture. Just again, I think that it's important to have fun. I think it's important to experience this sort of like wonder, but then also just to kind of casually play this. And so what I do frequently, rather than just kind of like start with my long tones, I'll actually, I will just play along with, or potentially just like casually play a song that I know really well. And this helps me to sort of like connect immediately with the enjoyment of playing trombone. I'm not trying to be affected by the technique so much that I'm just sort of a machinist, burning through all this repertoire that without any joy. I want to play with that infectious joy. So here is, let's see if I can do this right. Let's do it like that. If you want to play along with me, it might be kind of fun. I realize I went to a great music school, and so reading in several different clefs isn't a big problem. I invite you to do the same thing. It's just a matter of starting. But I'm going to be playing this because I haven't done the transcription yet, and I'm just going to have fun. And I hope you play with me. Okay? If not, go ahead and buzz with me. If it's too much, go ahead and buzz with me, all right? Yeah, here we go. I didn't have the Royer turned on yet. Just my vocal, just my lapel mic. That would have been terrible, I think. I assume you want to hear me play. As I said before, go ahead and buzz along with me if you'd rather. That might be easier. We're just trying to get our lips going with a singing sound. Let's keep going here. So that's literally how I start every practice session. And I invite you to realize that we live in a world that is in demand, like on demand, I guess in demand, but like we live in an on demand world. And we can so easily access, entertainment. But in this case, I'm talking about accessing things that were before very challenging to get a hold of, right? Like music, to find the exactly like leader in general. But then to like look up a composer and look up different songs that they may have written, art songs, opera arias, and then just go on a hunt on IMSLP, and there's the sheet music, and away you go. And you're starting every practice session being inspired and actually having a more expansive idea of what music is, its place in the world, and your connection to it. I think this is really important to just start. And potentially the way that we go wrong, if I were to guess, is that we try to make one thing mean everything, right? We're looking for like not a song, but the song, right? And frequently we're missing the mark there, right? If you find a song and it works for the day or it doesn't, that's okay. You're going to do your long tones anyway, right? But sometimes you find something that is truly inspiring, and that's kind of the point. So let me just see if there's any questions before we jump into our long tones. Yeah, thank you, Quinn. Appreciate it. How do you compensate for lack of back pressure when the mouthpiece buzzing as opposed to playing? This is a good question. Let's talk about that really quickly. I think that, okay, one time I was taking yoga, right? And they were talking about breath of fire. And I was trying to figure out how to equate that easy breathing, that quick movement of breath to playing the trombone. And well, I went to the yoga instructor and I was told him that I was a musician, and I said, here I am trying to make this work for the trombone, and I'm wondering, like, how are you moving the diaphragm, and where is the tongue in this position, and is this healthy or not for, like, if I were using like trombone breath? And the instructor stopped me and he said, I think that you're getting off the mark. You really need to not make one like the other. I think you just need to let them be different, and that's okay. So if I'm talking about buzzing on the mouthpiece and buzzing on the trombone, I think that frequently we might say, oh, well, it's not exactly like playing the trombone, therefore it's a waste of time. No. Just look at it like a therapy. It's something that's going to help you, but it's not going to be exactly that. And in fact, let's consider also too, like if you're like a world-class buzzer, that doesn't mean everything. You're hoping to someday, like, people will pay you money to play the trombone, not to buzz the mouthpiece. The mouthpiece, the rim, one of my favorite things is the breath builder. These are all therapies. They can help, but they only help to a certain point. And you need to be a pragmatist when you're looking at these things. These are practice aids that can really help you, and you use them as long as they help. And when they stop helping, it's okay. It's okay. That's when it's time to try something else, right? Or maybe just practice more, or take a rest. You kind of have to self-diagnose with that. But I would just say, like, the answer to your question is, of course, there's no back pressure here. And you can get a BERP, B-E-R-P, B-E-R-P, and you can help somewhat with it. But ultimately, we're just trying to get the lips to vibrate more easily with breath. That's it. We're just trying to find a more relaxed way of playing the trombone, right? And typically that's going to be with less lip tension and more breath support, right? So it's a therapy. It helps you to know that it's a therapy, right? But if you try to take it too far, sometimes you might dismiss, you might throw the baby out with the bathwater, so to speak. That was a good question, though. I'd be curious where to find, let's see, Nicholas, oh wow, I don't know how to say your last name. I'd be curious where to find a mouthpiece cut like that without having to buy a new mouthpiece and remove most of it. So, okay, funny story. This mouthpiece is one of my own mouthpieces. Griego and I worked on these. This is the Omega Oft series. This is the Lambda series, I think. But so I was walking down marble steps with leather sole shoes at work. They were kind of dusty, and my feet were right out from under me. And I thought, I'm going to drop the trombone. And so I put the trombone up really high, and I caught myself. And of course, the mouthpiece jerked off the back, and it destroyed itself. Like this part was just bent in. And so I went over to Virtuosity, and I got another mouthpiece. I actually like this one better. All mouthpieces can be like a micrometer different. It's just like, oh, maybe this one's better. But this one I decided I would destroy further and turn it into this. So I went and I used a grinder. God, it got so hot. The brass got so hot I had to have like a cup of water nearby. I was constantly plunging the mouthpiece into the water to cool it down so I could keep grinding away, but the friction really got it hot. So anyways, I made it myself. I'm sure a music store would make one. It's not a cheap way to go, I grant you that, but I had already destroyed this one, so it was kind of like a, what are you going to do now kind of thing. It's okay. Yeah. One more question, and then we're going to go into our long tones. Any advice on keeping the corners set in the mouthpiece, not to let them blow up? I've been mostly doing buzzing and pull-aways. Yeah. So Tiago, any advice on keeping the corners of the mouthpiece on the mouthpiece to not let them blow up? Okay, so if you're talking about puffing the cheeks, I mean, ideally, we want a diamond here, right? So that's to say that right here is the top of the diamond, and we have our corners, and then this is the bottom. And these are all like structured really well, right? But realize it's like kind of like rock climbing, right? You hang on too tight, and you run out of strength, right? You want to hang on just enough. And that's kind of when you're practicing what you want to do. You want to kind of flirt with how little you can get away with this lip tension, because definitely tension kills sound. So when you're buzzing, you're trying to release tension, right? But you can obviously release so much tension that there's just no structure at all to the embouchure. We don't want that. So keep your diamonds set here, right? And then you're playing with how much pressure you have, or how much pressure you have on the mouthpiece with the lips, but then also how much structure you have here, because you can absolutely overdo this. You need to, I'm going to swear here, okay? It's Sunday, but it's daylight savings, but it's like a mantra that my Toby students all know, okay? If you're in the fold, you know what I'm going to say. DSLS. Whatever you do, don't sound like shit. Okay, so like the reason I say that is because from somebody like me, you'll typically hear things like, hey, more air. Okay, great. Hey, better embouchure here, right? Can you like make sure that your corners are tight? Any one of these things can become a new problem if you follow it far enough. You have to keep sound as king, right? So what I'm suggesting here is don't sound terrible. Okay, that's that you can, if you want to like use so much air that you overblow your face and the pitch is all wonky and you have no response because your embouchure has no shape to it at all, you can do that. And you've made it all about air, but you've taken it past the point of sounding good. So you have to keep your ears active and know when a problem has become a solution. When you're invoking this tightness, so to speak, of embouchure, you need to have that structure there, but you can take that structure so far that it starts to shut down the buzz, DSLS, okay? Back off on that. So what am I saying here? I mean, just to answer your question, the rim, typically, I find it very challenging not to have this diamond in place when I'm buzzing on the rim. Now, I don't say that I have like the perfect embouchure, but I can see that when I'm buzzing on the rim, my corners naturally go where they're supposed to. It's really challenging to have a clear sound, a clear buzz, puffing the cheeks on the rim. You see that? So, I mean, we can talk about that more at length if you want to jump over to TOBI. But at this point, like that's pretty much the answer, is DSLS and use the rim. Okay, if you're puffing your cheeks, you're kind of you're putting your attention on force or airflow instead of sounding good. Okay, so everything's kind of like a balancing act with that kind of stuff. I hope that answers your question well enough. All right, let us, before we run out of time, let's get some. You want to do some Sloshburgs, maybe? Want to do some Sloshburgs? Perhaps? Yep. Yep. Okay. Let's get some Sloshburgs going. Go over to my iPad. Got to go to our method book section. Go down to the Sloshburg. There it is. Now, a lot of people, we were talking about this yesterday in our warm-up. A lot of people know that the Sloshburgs help, and they don't do them. And the reason they don't do them is because they look surprisingly simple. But if I were to say do exactly what's on the page, you might actually have a problem. Let's take a look at this, huh? Yep. There we go. There we go. There we go. All right, so this is probably a page that you're familiar with. If we look at number 9, for example, and we say, okay, so we start at mezzo forte, and we have to diminuendo. Now, this is the opposite of what people typically do. They'll crescendo, or they'll keep, maybe everything uniform. But to actually play in rhythm with the diminuendo up to the F is maybe something that we wouldn't do. Let's try this and see if you can get a clear attack, consistent pitch, right? And diminuendo as you go through the slur to the F. Right now, if at any point when we're doing this you experience a challenge like it's not coming out, DSLS, right? You're going to buzz on the mouthpiece of the rim and then join me on the next one, okay? So I'm going to turn on a metronome here. Here we are. Wait. Oh, Stephen, thank you so much for joining Toby. Yeah, I'll send you an invitation to the masterclass, which is starting in a half hour. The masterclass today, by the way, I should tell you, every 2 weeks we run a masterclass, a topical masterclass. The masterclass today for TOBI is vibrato and the orchestral trombone player. There's a few times when vibrato is necessary. It's actually written in the part, or you might choose to use it. And a lot of trombone players don't know how to play with a convincing vibrato, so we're gonna discuss that today. I hope that you choose to join TOBI today. I hate to make this about a commercial, but that's the ulterior motive here. I hope you join me. So anyways, what we have here is a metronome. Do. And I want to turn on my tuner here. And we're going to do number 10. All right? Number 10. Now, again, if you run into any problems, DSLS, right? You're going to solve it with either buzzing the rim or the mouthpiece, okay? And then just join me on the next one, all right? Here we go. Nice clear sound, nice easy. Oh, I blocked it. There we go. All right, that should be easy to hear. Let's turn on the metronome. Okay, here we go. Number 9. 1, 2, ready? Oh, you know what? I need to think about how I normally do this. I'm usually going half tempo. So let's do this, forgive me, let's do this half that fast. And what's the other thing I wanted to tell you? Oh, we're gonna put a fermata on the half note. Just so we're gonna kill 2 birds here. We're trying to get our lip slurs and our long tones in together. Thank you for bearing with me. Here we go. Whew, that's good. You know, what I really feel, I don't know if somebody just joined, but the thing that I really feel is the Alma Mahler that we listened to before, and that really beautiful leader, that sound started to permeate my long tones. Like I could hear her singing in my mind, and that's kind of the point, really, is to get you to a place where you're hearing a world-class example of tone quality, and then you're trying to infect your tone quality, right? Now, typically that can be a challenge when you're sight reading something, or when you're dealing with a previous paradigm, like if you have in your idea that something is loud or athletic. Sometimes it's harder to connect with that, but if you can start with being inspired and then use that to inform your perception of sound, like with the idea that you're trying to elevate yourself, right? In the simplest music possible. Oftentimes it's the easiest, and you can hope that will trickle into everything else that you're doing. That sense of musicianship and tone quality is really helping me to continue to develop my sound. And that's what I'm telling you isn't necessarily, hey, you should practice this one song, or you should sound like me. I'm saying let's use this culture of trying to elevate ourselves right at the beginning of our practice as a cultural expression, like it's a habit, that every day starts with being inspired. You have a hope then to be inspiring yourself when you're practicing these simple melodies, but then what happens when you take that idea and you go into your Bordoni practice? This has really helped me actually to take a greater responsibility for being an inspiring musician every day. This is how I start, and I think it will help you as well. I've seen this, it's humbling. There's some ideas that I have, I'll just tell you a secret. Some ideas that I have as a teacher, it's surprising because I have the idea in my practice and I use it, and it's kind of hard to measure if they're working. And then I suggest it to a student and I'm listening from an objective perspective, and I'm like, oh my God, that really works. It's really neat to kind of vet ideas in this way. And I can, notice what works and what doesn't. But this is one that it's painful, and like to my ego how well this works, because from a teacher perspective, I want it to be like I play and you play, and then like because I sound so great, like you're gonna be somehow infected by that, And so that kind of puts a lot of responsibility for me to sound good. But what is surprising is how much better this works. So if I start a lesson with having the student listen to a leader as we did, and then play along with it, and then say, all right, now play tuba mirum with that in mind, it's a paradigm shift. I invite you to try this. It is extraordinary, and I hope that it just starts your practice day just like it does mine, because you have a greater hope for evolving your practice. I think we have time for a few more questions. I wish I had more time to play for you, but I need to get ready for the masterclass, which is for the subscribers only. And again, shameless plug, if you want to come to my website, tobiaf.com/TOBI, that's where you can sign up for we do masterclasses every other week, and then there's group warm-ups and office hours, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And it's a subscriber thing. So if you want to be a part of this community that's growing pretty quickly, I would love to see you there. We're having a great time, and I can answer your questions more specifically there if you like. Today's masterclass at 2 o'clock Eastern Time is going to be on vibrato and the orchestral trombone player. So I hope that you choose to join. Let me see some of your questions here. Nick Kemp, it's good to see you. How are you doing? Oh, it's been a while. I hope everything's going well. Hi, Sydney from Brazil. That's great. Stephen Wimple is asking if today's class will be archived, and that's actually part of the deal. There's a members-only section for TOBI, and all the classes, not just the last couple of weeks, but actually that I did all summer and spring, are up there. So we've got master classes on the David, how to build a private lesson studio, Bolero, tuba mirum, gosh, we did Heldenleben, Die Valkyrie. God, there was a lot of material because for a while I was doing a class every week, and we had interviews from everybody that I could think of, and they're all still archived there, available in the members only section. That's part of the perk. Is it's not like you're just showing up to the master classes. You can watch all the previous master classes as well. So that's in the members only section. Thanks for asking that, Stephen. Nicholas is saying he's going to keep a bowl. You would have figured that out. He's going to keep a bowl of water when he does the grinding down to the to create the cutaway. Trust me, you'll figure it out. It'll become too hot to hold on to really quick, and you'll say, "How do I fix that?" Let's see. That's good. Yeah, we did a lot. Yeah. Well, my friends, this will be, I'm going to be live with a warm-up kind of like this. I'm going to do this every week like this. So on Sundays, if you want to set your calendar, just say hi and you just want to do the freebies, we can do that. It's going to be on Sundays at this time, every Sunday. So everybody that showed up today, you're not sure you want to join TOBI, that's totally cool. I'm just happy to connect with you, and I'll take you through some of my warm-up. It's going to be different every time, but your comments really keep me going. Your questions and everything like that. It's really neat to hear what everybody has to say and where your attention is. So I would just say, if you don't want to join me, that's okay. I'm happy to see you right here, but I hope you consider it moving forward. If you just want to set your calendar, this is where I'm going to be every Sunday, and I'll just take you through the warm-up. Remember, you have no hope of being inspiring unless you don't take responsibility to be inspired every day. That's the main lesson that I would give you for the day. With all that, we're going to call it a day, and I'm going to get myself ready for the masterclass in 15 minutes. If you want to join, it comes through, and I'll send you an email right away with a Zoom invite, and we can have a much more interactive class. So hope to see you soon. Thanks for everything.